All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Who the Heck Are We? We are glad to have you on board. That is a welcome back to our current listeners, subscribers, to our new friends. Welcome aboard. We hope that you could give this post a like, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and also we are on YouTube, so subscribe there. Original content. Screenshot that page right there for stuff from our podcast network, which we are under the Globally Ballin network. So there you go. Let's bring in the rest of the crew for this F1 Turkish GP Kwentuhan. Clara Manzano here in behalf of Claudia Perrine. We also got Raymond Cudala, who will be our racing analyst again. So what a race. Wow. I'm just happy whenever we race in Turkey, guys. So roundtable muna, Claudia, and then of course we'll go with Raymond because who the heck are we to be talking about these stuff? Claudia, what do you think
Yeah.
about the race?
Uh, it was weird because I thought that Hamilton will be pole position. And then when I saw it, I'm like, why is he all the way in the back?
Mm-hmm. Due for
And then,
a
yeah,
due for a change in the part, the ICE,
yeah,
internal combustion engine.
yeah. I
Yes.
remember my
Mhm.
first text to you guys is, where is Daniel Ricardo? First, I
sorry,
didn't.
sorry.
I,
He's at the back.
I know I didn't care about anything. Where is Daniel? Of course, I was looking
Mm-hmm.
my Aussie driver, but for me it was exciting. Not as exciting as the one we last analyzed. No, the which race was that? What was the last one? You're on mute, lang, Claro.
Italian GP?
Was it the
Yeah.
Tama
Italian
ba yan?
GP?
Raymond,
In
when
The
was your last
Monza.
exciting,
race?
the one with the crash.
In
Yeah, the one
Monza.
with the Monza.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So again, this was exciting
Mm-hmm.
as the Lando Norris not finishing his first place race. No, I
It
know it.
still makes me sad.
I know.
I'm a Ferrari fan, but like as someone who appreciates the sport as a whole, like I like seeing everyone succeed. I like seeing everyone succeed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted Lando
Yeah.
to win that one though. I wanted
Uh-huh.
that. I
Yeah.
felt so bad.
Yeah. So
Lando
that does
almost
it.
had it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ikaw naman, Raymond, what do you think about the race? How did you see it in the racing perspective? Kasi kami ni Claude, di kami racing drivers. We're not the junior Carter of the year. So please tell us now. Valid kasi yung kwento mo ngayon or analysis. So go ahead.
Yeah. The race was really tricky, especially with the tires and the pit stop strategy. Um, it's all about driver preference and what the team can see. Uh, the team can give only limited information to the driver, and it's basically up to the driver to decide on when to pit or not. And as we saw it yesterday, the pit strategies can go both ways. And yeah, we've seen what the results can do with a bad pit stop strategy, an early pit stop, and a later pit stop.
Mhm. So, bad strategy. They said in hindsight, Daniel Ricciardo's pit stop early wasn't good. It was good in the beginning, but it didn't work out in the end. Pace was good right after changing the tires, but after that, there was a cliff in performance, and he lost already. Um,
Man.
yeah, so that was a nutshell for Daniel Ricciardo. No? And then this race, to be frank, it was quite unconventional, I think, for a race with wet tires because normally we don't with that amount of precipitation, the cars should be or should have enough performance to dry up the track. But that wasn't the case. I think given the nature of the Istanbul track, it was very slippery last year, so pavement is not as good. But they fixed it up though, Raymond, to really match the usual quality they have for racing. Like I know Bahrain, the track, yung what do you call it? The cement or the stones, they got them from
Yeah,
some quarry in England, which is top
And
level.
they
And for
moved it.
Turkey, yeah,
Oh,
for Bahrain,
oh,
but for Turkey, they're like, oh yeah, we're rushing last year, and they just used local asphalt. So
oh.
that
That makes it
was
slippery.
the
Slippery.
quality wasn't so good. It was done late, so the track conditions weren't as ideal compared to last. Oh, well, compared to how it's supposed to be for racing,
Okay.
and
yeah.
it was
The
strange.
conditions yesterday. yeah, the conditions yesterday was really difficult for a driver because, as you can see, the track was too wet for inters, but too dry for slicks, and that's the challenge that drivers had to
Mhm.
face yesterday.
Mm.
The conditions yesterday were killing the inters and leading to drivers thinking when to stop, because at some points in the race the track was drying up and then it would drizzle a little bit, which would help for the tires to last longer.
Mhm.
Ooh, wait, I got
Yeah,
a
I
question.
got one question after you. Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. For me, tires are very important. I think we discussed this, I think, like twice now, no? And I didn't realize that normally when you pit, it's really for changing the tires, putting petrol, diba?
No more
Uh,
petrol. No more petrol.
no more, no
Refueling's
more.
been
Oh,
banned for
see,
the
this
past
is how
11 years. Yeah.
old I am.
yeah.
No more petrol.
No loading. Yeah. Bawal
No, no.
kumarga.
Yeah, remember that? That was actually so much fun. You could watch them putting all the petrol. That's why the pit stop was longer.
Mhm.
Anyway, my question is,
Tama.
diba, why? What are the tires and the importance of it? Because like what Caro said, Daniel pitted too early, and then parang the strategy then was mali, no?
Yeah. And then to add lang, Leclerc naman, too late. Pero
Ah, yeah.
they
Mm.
tried to go no stop. We'll discuss that later. So some did it too early, some did it too late. So yeah,
Mm.
that's what we'd like to
Yeah.
ask you, Raymond. Why did they go for that? Very, very different approaches from McLaren and Ferrari.
Yeah. So the different tires and then yeah, their strategy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the tires, of course, we have the three slick tires where we have the soft, medium, and the hards. And for the wet, we have inters and full-on wets.
Mhm.
So regarding tire strategy, the harder compound you go, the longer stint you can do on a race. But that doesn't mean going for the hards would last you until the end, because according to Pirelli, there's only an amount of tire life in each tires. It's up to the teams whether when they want to pit or if they want to maximize the tires and push it to the limit. So uh, yesterday it was about the inters. What's funny about yesterday is that they said it. Uh, what I said earlier, it was too wet for inters, but we saw the as the longer they use the inters, the faster they can go. I think
Okay.
it explains that inters have grooves or the tire threads where water can pass.
Mhm.
The longer the longer you use it, it uh, it wears out,
Yeah.
and now it goes through a graining phase where this means that the inner part of the tires, which is touching the racetrack most of the time, gets worn out and it turns into a slick tire slowly. And I think this is the key to go on a longer stint, because we saw yesterday those who went in who changed into new inters earlier had a bad performance right after their pit because they had to go through a grading phase all over again, which
Mhm.
Mm.
cost them time to catch up to the front again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I follow up to that? No.
Yeah,
Normally the track is wet. It's good to have fresh tires because that will give you more grip.
yeah,
But you're you're saying it was advantageous to have worn tires. So yung inters kumakalbo. So that stops giving you grip. That seems
yes.
like reverse logic. So why was
Yeah.
it advantageous na ano kalbo na yung mga tires? Baliktad eh, 'di ba?
Oh nga no. Yeah.
Yeah, it all boils down to the track condition. Like I said earlier, it was too wet for slicks, but since the inters did its job for a longer stint, it now gave an advantage the longer you use it, because it now eliminates the tire grooves, and it now gets a little bit flat, which now works similar to a slick tire.
Okay, okay.
Is
Gets.
that
So
okay, is
too
that why
wet
you
for
slide?
slicks.
Is that why you slide, or is that
Well,
the reason?
the longer the race went, at times where it stopped raining, the track got a little bit drier, and that's where the somehow semi-slick, that what happened to the intermediate tires became an advantage,
Wow.
because it worked a little bit like slick tires.
Okay, I get it now. Because too wet for slicks. If you bring out the slicks in those, what will happen is too wet, so you won't be able to warm up the slick tire.
Mm-hmm.
But the intermediate is easier to get heat in. So you have, I think tama Raymond, no? If you have heat, you have grip. So they were able
Yeah,
to heat the inter.
basically, the graining phase is all about burning the rubber. So this means that the tire grooves, where you would see where the water passes through the tires, now gets flatter and flatter, because
Okay.
the newer the tire is, uh, it's much more, let's say, mas makapal siya.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
flatter it gets, the more traction you get now in the track, which
That is.
was an advantage, yes, in yesterday's race, because at some point, again, the track was getting dry, and it would drizzle a little bit and then get dry again.
Gets. So the inters were really the ones that are really easy to heat up. And I think
Yes.
that's perfect, no? Iba tawag intermediate because it's for wet, it's for dry, mixed conditions.
Yes.
Yung wet
Mm-hmm.
kung hindi naman todo yung ulan, or if you have steady rain,
Mm-hmm.
and then slicks, sunshine.
Yeah.
Dry track. Claudia, anything else? Let's carry on.
No, that's the. I'm just getting more insights on how important. I mean, I know that tires are very important in racing, but
Uh-huh.
I didn't understand the detail of it in terms of the slick, intermediate. Because normally that's the reason why they pit, is because to change their tires, right?
Tama.
And it
Mm-hmm.
depends uh, on the racetrack, the condition of the
Mm-hmm.
racetrack, right? So
Yeah,
if you,
yeah. And to be
yeah,
honest, unconventional yung surface in Turkey. Because we were talking about the
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about
yeah,
the problems last year, resurfaced at the last minute. When they were
yeah.
driving there last year, like, wow, this is worse than ice skating. And F1 cars are
Yeah.
opposite of ice skating. No?
And it's so people that are watching, uh, it's just not pushing on the gas and turning the right time, or
Mm-hmm.
turning at the right corner, or speeding up on a
Mhm.
straight. It's really also the how do you you know uh, use your crew, right?
Yeah.
When do
Oh,
you change,
Mm-hmm.
or when do
Yeah.
you pit, diba? So it's also a whole team. But I've always liked Formula One since Nigel
Yeah.
Mansell. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Raymond and I. Do I say it? Do I say it? Oh, whew.
Nigel Mansell. See, that's how old. That's yeah. Naabutan ko si Nigel Mansell.
Raymond and I were like born, when it was like the
Way.
tail end of Senna, may he rest in peace,
Oh
GOAT,
yeah.
and Schumacher entering F1. So,
Arthur, so you didn't get to watch Arthur's. You did.
Ayrton.
Senna.
No
Elton
more,
Senna.
unfortunately.
No
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Ah,
Raymond and I didn't reach him as fans watching. Yeah, Schumacher,
oh wow.
Schumacher boys
Oh
kami.
yeah.
Schumacher
Yeah.
Vettel boys
Oh,
Yeah.
kami.
he
Yeah.
changed the race. He changed the quality of the race.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's carry on. I have my notes here. They were in
Okay.
lap 42 out of 58. So Raymond said it was advantageous to use your old tires. And here, lap 42 of 58, we had one, two, three, four drivers who did not stop at all as of lap 42 out of 58. So some of them in the top 10, we have Charles Leclerc, we got Lewis, we got Esteban Ocon. So yan, nasa top 10. And then can we show the second one, Claudia? And eventually, Antonio Giovinazzi did not make it, but he stopped really, really late. If we go to the next slide, 11 to 20. So I think that
This
clearly
one.
demonstrates it. Oh, the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
coming.
think that clearly demonstrates it here. Guys like
Mine.
Charles Leclerc. But
Okay.
a big talking point is the no stop strategy of Esteban Ocon. It's
Mm.
been 24 years since someone did the no stop strategy. No stop strategy. Um, when you're in the dry, you have to change tires, no, Raymond? You have to run two
Yeah.
tires. And
Uh-huh.
in changing conditions, they're like, yeah, just go, do whatever you want because it's for safety. And then
Yeah.
Esteban Ocon did zero stops.
That's
How do you
crazy.
manage tires like that? When they looked at the tires, hindi lang kalbo may butas na. The,
Yeah.
the outer layer was gone.
The thread was coming out already.
Exactly. Yeah, there was an O for Ocon daw, sabi nila.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, can you tell us about that? How
Uh,
the heck do you manage your tires? Those tires would have gave in daw and could have had the fantastic and unfortunate explosion.
well, first of all, it's really the talent of Esteban. Uh, he's a really good driver. He was able to manage the tires very well up until the end, which is iconic right now. Everybody knows about it. And but I think he was in the similar situation with Lewis yesterday.
Mm.
With Esteban and Lewis, it was either you pit at the right time or you push all the way through the end, which it paid off for Ocon. He made it to the end. He was in the points, although Lewis was also in the points, but he dropped down 2 places from the point where he came in the pits.
Yeah, the thing with Lewis, he also wanted or could have gone for no stop, and then they made him stop.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is
Mm-hmm.
the part that really wowed us. So,
Yeah, the
Oh
thing
gosh, yeah.
about yeah, the thing about what happened to Lewis is I think if he did pit as early as Max and Valtteri, which was in lap 37, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, relatively
It's
early
around,
by
yeah,
Turkish
it's
standards.
around that time. I
Is it
think,
really?
I think,
Huh.
yeah, I think that was the perfect time to uh, fit in and change into new inters because it takes a while to get through the graining phase, which we go back again into the burning out some rubber on the tires. So what happened to Lewis was came into the pits with a decision by the team where he wanted to go and push with a no stop, but it
Mm.
was already too late because he would have to go again through the graining phase,
Okay, yeah,
which didn't work out for him.
because Lewis stopped, I think, and then he had fresh tires for 8 laps. So
Yeah.
Esteban Ocon, I think he is the new tire whisperer. It used to be Sergio Perez, and then Vettel was saying to take care of your tires. There are other tracks where it's also difficult to manage tires. So he said that you have to talk to it, you have to give it a little massage, sabi daw. So your new
Yeah.
tire whisperers, and then Esteban Ocon, no, sulit. The no stop, you
Oh,
can say
Yeah.
he made it work. No stop, game started 12, and the 10th winner. You score a point. Vettel
Mm.
was a big loser if we look at positions gained. The reason why Vettel's on the right side with Alonso, it's some negative. Vettel lost 8. Okay.
oh
Why did
gosh.
he was in the inters, he started 10th, he was running 10th, he was gonna score a point. So you had the point, 1 point to lose. Then why did they gamble for the medium tires? It obviously didn't work out. Kaya
Mm.
natalo siya. -8 places. Finished 18th.
I
Okay.
think it was a decision by Seb to try on the slick tires, which is I think it's partly a good decision for other teams, but it didn't work out for their own team.
Yeah.
And but
Oof.
yeah, going back to what I said earlier, it again was too wet for slicks, which showed because of Seb's performance.
Yeah.
I
Well, he
think
would
But
be
you.
they thought it would work out.
he'd be king of the world though if he nailed that.
Oh
Let's
gosh.
just
Yeah,
say
Yeah.
for sure.
if that
Yeah.
was perfect and he was on the right, if it was the right tire and everyone was still on the inters, Who knows?
Yeah.
He'd also be pulling off a Carlos Sainz. Look at that, 11 places gained. Yeah. Claudia?
I was telling, I think it was, we were chatting, he's doing a Lando.
Yeah,
Like,
doing
'cause
a
he was,
Lando because he
yeah.
messed because it was the wrong move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then back again to Lando. But he was sliding, no? He was really
Yeah.
having a
It
hard
was
time.
completely undrivable in those conditions.
Mhm.
Crazy.
Would you
Is
gamble,
it,
Raymond, if you were in Vettel's place? You have a point.
Well, I think it's not bad to
oh, good
try, you
question.
know.
That's a good question, huh? Yeah, because you're
Okay.
10th, right? And then you go
You have a
back to
point to
18th.
Yeah.
lose, right?
Yeah, you have a point
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
lose. Yeah.
exactly. So you wouldn't do the gamble, Raymond.
Personally, I wouldn't.
You
I would
wouldn't.
just
Okay.
uh depends. It depends on what I feel on the track.
Okay.
Can
Yeah.
you can that
Pero
happen to you in karting though, Clara and Raymond?
you can't change tires in
You can.
karting. I think
No, but so if it
Raymond.
Well, we can.
rains, but if it rains, can
Well,
you?
yeah,
Sorry ka na
I
lang,
do
no?
have I have an experience when it comes to that. I think it's in Carmona.
Okay.
So it was the final race, and according to the stewards, it was a wet race. So we all put on wet tires. And we don't have intermediates in go karts though. So basically, what happened is there's this one guy who didn't change into wet tires,
Oh,
and
Panalo siya.
yeah, everyone else was stuck in wet tires, and it never rained.
oh no,
I
Yeah,
remember. Yeah,
that's
that was years
sad.
back. Yeah, I think I
yeah,
remember you were telling me about it, Raymond, and I
yeah,
asked, why didn't you change to the right tire then? And then you said that it takes long to change go-kart tires. No. It takes
yeah,
long, like your typical road car, where you're gonna have to remove four nuts from each wheel one at a time.
Oh,
Four
it's like
nuts
the
for each wheel.
yeah,
normal, changing of the
Oh, they
car.
have to do the
yeah,
crocodile, and then you have to put the crocodile jack under the car.
Yeah.
Crocodile jack, because that's how it fits, right? Guys, when you get a flat
yeah,
tire, you need one of those jacks, huh? Race the car.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. The
Crocodile.
tip. Those ones that go up like that, diba?
Yeah, and then you have to pump
yeah.
it, no?
You had to pump it, pa. Oh gosh.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
Wait,
Anyway,
I have a question
yes.
before
Go
we
ahead. Go
go to
ahead.
your break. Uh, so when you slide, when you like what Vettel did and what Lando did also in the previous race, is that what you call hydroplaning?
I think not really in this
No, no.
situation. Hindi,
Yeah,
hindi pa
Okay.
not
complete loss
really.
eh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you explain hydroplaning again for us, Raymond,
Yeah.
how it works?
yeah. So about hydroplaning, it's basically similar to skipping a rock on water.
Ooh,
Since you're on
okay.
slick tires, which is completely flat and no grooves at all, like the normal street tire where you would see, or the inters for in Formula One, slick tires are flat. So when you hit a puddle, your tire now jumps and it's not reaching. It's not. There's no traction at all.
Oof.
So yeah, it's basically similar to skipping a rock on water.
So
Oh
you're a
gosh.
passenger and the car turns into
Yeah,
a boat. Okay, so that's
yeah, no
everything gone
control
wrong.
at all.
Yeah. But I don't think it was hydroplaning exactly for Vettel,
Yeah,
just a little
Oh,
sliding.
he was just sliding. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, shall we carry on to our quick breaks? We got so much to talk about. So we are doing our analysis for the F1 Turkish GP with Raymond Cudala, former Philippine and International Junior Karter of the Year. And let's carry on. We remember the globally Ballin network. So do save that page for your original content right there. If you are in on Spotify, on the go, check the link in the description. Follow us on social media, and we are remember the globally Ballin network again. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're not catching this video on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page, you're on the YouTube page of Globally Ballin. That's where you can find all of our stuff. So never miss a beat. Subscribe, and then if you are on the go, Spotify is the place to be. So again, our sister shows are there too. So anytime, anywhere, just go to Spotify, and then let's carry on to our sister shows. We have Hang Time with Denise Dinsay for your volleyball conversations with Philippine personalities. And then we also have next up, I think that an alternative basketball, yan, mga tito ko yan, where they talk about basketball from the 70s, 80s, 90s. So that is with Noel, Charlie, Sid, JPM, and I cannot wait to carry on already with our conversation. But again, Antardia Basketball, we got our lovely sponsors right here. Chops to Go, New Era, Hinuluban Farms, Judges, our Fratelli, Cuts Apparel, and this is our growing buffet right here of so many complimentary
You forgot one
items
again.
and Aqua Flask.
Yeah.
The reason
Our
why
wait.
I am not showing it is because I got my real Aqua Flask right here. So this thing is a brick. You see how big it is. I only have to refill this like twice a day.
And you
Lakas ako
can't
uminom ng
put that
tubig.
inside an F1 car because it'll get heavier.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my Aqua Flask. This is the reason why I'm not showing it because I have it right here to display. So anyway, back to
Wait.
our Turkish GP kwentuhan. No? Anyway, Yuki Tsunoda, race start. He made it exciting in the beginning. He held Lewis Hamilton to 8 laps. I mean, that is a commendable performance. He had to defend for 8 laps. Yuki was defending for 8th because Yuki started 9th, gained 1 position, and then he kept the world champion back for 8 laps. And I think it's a great thing to see. I'm excited. I hope
Did he
Yuki
finish?
gets to really prove himself. He slid down the order. Yes. But Raymond, this performance, Yuki Tsunoda, you think this will boost his confidence? Is he getting a hang of things? I know he didn't finish in the points still, but he's there in 14th. But who holds a world champion to 8 laps, right? I mean, Norris did it also before in Italy. He didn't do it this race. It took Lewis a few laps to get by. But Yuki, 8 laps is a healthy number, yes.
Yeah, definitely. He showcased his talent yesterday. I believe without any errors, Yuki would definitely be somewhere in the points consistently together with Pierre.
Yeah, yan,
But
sayang talaga.
just the errors are just killing him.
Sayang talaga. Pierre's the one who's been carrying Alpha Tauri. Sometimes they say that he has to miss the next race for carrying the entire team on his back. But Yuki's from Japan, and I like seeing our huge continent get represented.
Yeah.
So Japan,
He
Eastern
finished.
Asia, we're close. He finished 14th, but
He
the
normally
name of
doesn't
the
finish.
game is to finish points. He normally finishes out of the points.
Last, or doesn't even finish.
Not
Well,
last. He's ahead of Mazepin and Schumacher. Yeah.
Oh my
He's
God.
ahead of-
Well,
yes.
did he beat my guy? Oh, he was right after Daniel. Oh, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Because Daniel Ricciardo gained 7 places, but he finished 13th. But you're not supposed to be finishing in a McLaren. You're supposed to be at least going 6th.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
so it was
He
a
was
tough
at the
day.
point 11. He was 11th at the point.
One spot away from the points, but
Yeah, from
you know,
points. Yeah.
11th. There's a 10th and 11th. One gets points, other doesn't. Gasly. Next up. Penalty for hitting Alonso, Raymond. He said he was sandwiched. Alonso said that Gasly hit him on the exit and didn't leave space. But Gasly still got a commendable result. Fair penalty? Racing incident? Yes or no?
I think it's a racing incident, especially in those conditions. You don't really mean sometimes to hit someone, but conditions really push you to do that. It happens. He wasn't under control. Not really sure on his point of view what really happened, but the way I saw it, I think he was looking towards his left side and his side mirror rather than Alonso on the outside. So I think that's why he felt like he was sandwiched.
Alonso's on the outside, so that was to the right of Gasly. Gasly's looking to his left. And then Alonso, same lap, I think. So Alonso's at the back. He was trying to make up for things. So he was battling with the Haas. And then he hit Mick. And then I don't think you call it a bromance moment. No, it's like this one was like a fatherly son or Tito and son moment because Alonso gave Mick Schumacher a hug for hitting him. And the reason why I say Tito is because Alonso raced against Mick Schumacher's dad, Michael Schumacher.
And the uncle.
Discussion.
Oh gosh.
Tama. See?
Those two were rivals. Those two were rivals back in the day.
Oh yeah. They gave us our childhood. So with that, no, Alonso's race wrecked. Mick Schumacher. If he didn't get hit by Alonso, you think he would have been able to finish a little up there? Schumacher qualified 15th. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's his best qualifying. He tied his best
Yeah.
qualifying.
Mm.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, sorry.
You
No, go ahead,
think
go ahead, go ahead.
you think Schumacher would have? You think Schumacher in a Haas, the slowest car in the grid, if Alonso didn't hit him, you think he'd be more competitive in the race?
For sure, yeah, because his confidence was way up from his result in qualifying. I think he overperformed his expectations, but during the race, it kind of dipped down when he got hit by Alonso. But it happened. Like I said, it happens. Same way Pierre hit Alonso. It's all a part of racing.
Okay. And if you're in a Haas, you're playing catch up. Yeah, you're not gonna catch up. But if you're in a Haas and you're ahead of cars, you can
Go
slow
away.
everyone down and defend anyway. I'll defend all the way. Claudia, yeah.
Yeah, um, were there penalty points or before, or like you have a 5 second pit stop? When did that rule come out?
There were always five
Was
second
there always
penalties and everything, drive-through penalties.
just
Naging mas
before
uso yung 5 seconds
the five
because
seconds, right?
Yeah,
there were times I think it was default drive-through penalty, and that is harsh. That's plus 25 on average.
That was
So
when they were still putting petrol in the
yeah, but they
right?
said
Yeah.
there's some penalties. Sobra yung 20 plus yung drive-through penalty just for a small infraction. Like
Mm.
so
Mhm.
Pierre's was ayun nga, it's borders racing like what Raymond said. So plus
Mhm.
5 seconds. But I think a drive-through penalty, which is the old default,
Yeah.
I think that would be too harsh. His
that
race
that
would have
would
been
hurt.
wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
he won't be able to continue carrying Alpha Tauri on his back
Yeah.
almost on his own. But yes, I will tell you, I do really like Yuki as a fellow Asian. Yes, Japan's close to the
Mhm.
Philippines.
That's true. 3 hours away. Another
Yeah.
question, Ray. So what? How can you distinguish a penalty and a normal hit? What are the criteria? What's the criteria for that?
Well, regarding that one, it's really up to the stewards, which is
Ah,
FIA, to decide on that. They watch the incident carefully and they judge together. It's not
parang
really up to
VAR.
the driver.
It's not
Yeah,
okay. Parang
Ma-
VAR, no?
Mahirap talaga eh. Parang
yeah,
basketball din talaga. Foul or
Yeah,
hindi. They have
yeah.
guidelines. But
yeah.
racing, there's so many moving parts. So hence
Mhm.
it's I think it's subjective.
Mm.
And it really depends on situations. Like, yeah, okay, he hit you, but where?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's so many things to consider. He hit you, but where were you relative to him on the to your opponent on the
yeah.
track?
I think what stewards really look at is where and how.
Mm. So
Galing.
parang MMDA yan, no? They see who had the line ahead, no? Except
Yeah,
he used the lines who
Yeah.
had right of way. But it's kind of hard to judge racing when it's right of way, especially when cars are going wheel to
That
wheel. But
fast.
yeah,
yeah, that's why even the stewards, Michael Massey, his crew, yeah, they're under a lot of criticism. A lot of bad,
Mm,
a lot of bad decisions were made in like the
mm.
A
late
lot
2000s.
because
So
they
they
were still
said,
figuring it out. Was it when they were still figuring it
I
out?
think what was happening was that there were more incidents, so things had to be more, let's say, a little bit more objective. So what
Mhm.
they did was every
Okay.
race now you have a former driver and he's gonna advise the stewards. So it's like how they have their analyst to say, nope, this is good. Nope, this is
Okay.
bad. Kaya
I
may
wonder how
analyst
many
din tayo
angles they
ngayon.
have. I
Yeah,
wonder
they
how
do,
many
they do.
yeah, right?
Ay,
Like
parang CCTV yan siguro, no?
parang
Yeah,
the NBA replays, yeah, or the NBA
Instant replay
in New
center. Yeah,
Jersey, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you know, yeah, the Lewis versus Max incident in Italy, we saw TV footage, and Raymond and I were just talking off air,
mhm.
and and I was saying, I think Lewis is at fault because he turned in, and then they showed another angle, and the other angle gave you a clearer picture, change your perspective. Max,
Wow.
so I changed my opinion there. So iba
Wow.
talaga yung mga
Okay.
angles talaga.
Different angles talaga, different
Mhm.
perspective, no?
Yeah,
Crazy.
of who has right of way. Simple as this. I think that is that
Who,
Yeah,
that's how we can
who,
explain it, right,
yeah.
Raymond?
Who
mhm,
gave him the
yeah,
space during the
Uh-huh.
turn? That was a turn, diba?
Mhm.
Should, kasi Hamilton was coming out of the pit. Who should have Max given the, tama ba yun? The right of way
Who should
to,
have backed off? I
yeah,
think.
who
yeah,
should have backed
Yeah.
off,
yeah.
right? So, Oh,
Y-
we're back. That crash was epic, to be honest.
Yeah. Kaya my opinion,
Yeah.
Lewis closed the door. Then after he closed the door, then I think that's when Max went for it, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, any listeners? If whose fault was it, Max or Lewis in Italy? Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
Nagkonting racing discussion
Yeah.
lang, because Raymond did say I think it was possibly a racing incident kay Pierre Gasly. That was what we had last time.
Mm.
But we cannot leave this guy out because the F1 broadcast, they leave him out a lot, even in his McLaren
Mhm.
days. That's his trademark. Carlos Sainz, end of
Oh yeah.
by lap 15, by my math, he started 19th. He was in 10th place. What a
Oh,
madman. How do you make sure, Raymond, that when you're going through the field, you still remain in one piece? Because it's very tricky in the midfield. It's very tricky in the midfield. How do you make sure that you get through safely, and at the same time you do your objective, overtaking cars, racing?
I think he just really had the right mindset yesterday.
Mhm.
Everything went really well for him, except for that one incident with Seb. If
Oh
you
right,
remember,
yeah.
yeah, I think that was really a kamikaze move. He was way back and still sent it. I think it was a good move though. Uh, Not really, not it. It was a really big risk if it didn't happen, but it worked out for him.
Mhm.
So I'm really happy for him. He had real fast pace yesterday.
Oof. Yeah, they call him the smooth operator. After all,
really?
that's
Yeah,
his nick. That's
Who?
his
This is
nickname.
yeah. He's
Science.
not called the smooth
science, huh?
operator for nothing.
Yeah, he sings on the he'd sing on the radio off tune.
Oh gosh. Speaking
Yeah,
of radio, I have one. Can I ask it already? The one
yeah.
of
Go ahead.
Hamilton. And the radio, he got
Mhm.
angry at his
For
team
changing
for
tires last minute.
changing tires.
That
I
wrecked
told
his
you.
race.
Yeah. Like I told you. I was like, oh wow, he angry. He angry. what why did he get angsty, or what was his reasoning for getting angry?
Well, as racing drivers, if you're in the car, you know it's emotions are really high, and you would always want to get things right most of the time. You would always want to be ahead of this guy, but it doesn't work out for yourself. But at the end of the day, what happened to him yesterday was a team effort. He wanted to go for a zero stop strategy, which didn't happen. And like I said, these things happen in racing.
Yeah.
Some races you get it right, some races you don't.
Yeah.
I remember Pierre Gasly saying in Drive to Survive, in Formula One, the highs are very high and the
Mhm.
lows are very low.
Mhm.
And yesterday it really showed in and what happened to Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a meme, diba? Did you see that meme where Ocon's car was showing and the tires when there was a butas, there was a hole,
Botas.
and then
Yeah.
and then what's his name?
Lewis.
Lewis was like, I could have done it, but he agreed to it. He agreed to stop, but then I think after how many laps he realized, oh my gosh, mali. Diba? I could have
Mm.
finished it without a pit, yeah, or without changing, yeah.
Right, right. Yeah. And
That's a perfectionist, no?
of course,
Yeah.
you gotta nail it. Raymond,
Yeah.
yes.
I think what pushed Mercedes to pit Lewis in kind of last minute, but it was all because of in my perspective, Sergio's job. He did a really good job in keeping Lewis at bay
Yeah.
and forced Lewis into using his tires just to get past him, but it didn't work out.
Who's
So
defending?
yeah, yeah, he gave Lewis a real good battle.
Yeah.
And then they were saying that, well, I think Bono, Lewis's manager, race engineer, was saying they pitted him because they felt that Perez was gonna get him. And the reason why Perez was gonna get him was because Lewis finished his tires battling
Mhm.
battling Perez, like what you said.
Yeah,
But I don't think
also.
it worked out for Lewis because I think, in my opinion, let's just say they don't give up the position. If Lewis can defend well, I say so.
Yeah.
If he would have been able to
Yeah.
defend Perez rather than just pit and
Exactly.
lose spots, yeah, okay. If you lose
Yeah.
your spot, you're fourth. But by Lewis pitting, fifth. So
Mm-hmm.
in hindsight, it didn't work out for them. And the lead now
Yeah.
is with Max Verstappen in the
Verstappen.
championship because of that. So
Oh,
last
wow.
race of the
Critical
year.
pala yun. That was
It is, it
critical,
is.
ah.
So
Yeah.
last race of
Wow.
the year, if we look back and Lewis loses by like 8 points or less, maybe we can point at Turkey. Maybe we can
Yeah.
point at Turkey. Yes,
Critical pala yun. That was a
every point
critical.
counts.
That was a critical position for
It was.
Hamilton. Wow.
Lewis lost the
Alright.
drivers' championship lead
with that, no?
Yeah.
with that. It's back to Max. But anyway, me,
Max.
like as a neutral guy in Lewis versus Max, I don't mind because at least we got good racing to end the year. When was the last time that we reached this far in the championship? Hasn't really been set in stone. No. But
Yeah,
Claudia,
that
anything
before.
else
Yeah.
before
How
we wrap
fast?
up? Yeah.
How fast was that pit from Verstappen? Was that Verstappen? And then the cameraman. What did that mean?
That was funny. That was
Oh,
funny.
yeah. Yeah.
Definitely not the world record. World record is set by Red Bull, 1.88. It was a clean
Who?
stop, but it's not the world record. Of
Who was that? Who
Set
was the
by Red.
driver?
that was for Verstappen also, 1.88 before in 2020. But now I don't think they set the world record. No, they might have gone at least 2 seconds or 2 point.
I think Red Bull
something.
got the first and second and pit stop yesterday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They were 1 and 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
I think just when you time the pit stops of Max and Sergio, they also do rankings for the fastest lap
Yeah.
award. So for pit stops performance wise, Red Bull 1-2, they are the fastest.
Galing.
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
that was
every
amazing
second,
how fast.
yeah, every second counts. So
Yeah.
it takes
Yeah.
2 seconds on average for a clean pit stop. Carlos Sainz's pit stop ended up going 8 seconds because there was
Mhm.
traffic coming in. And Ferrari, I
Yeah.
think they didn't handle it so well. There was an incoming Haas to stop among all cars. A Haas.
And it's
So
a
they
slow
held
one.
it down. Yeah, and they're a bit more strict now with pit stops. So they said they have to be a bit more safe. But
Yeah.
if they didn't have that new rule, I think that would have been a free for all. They would have released signs in 2
Yeah.
seconds, and but it will be a potential accident. I'm not so sure,
Okay.
to be honest, if Mazepin or Mick Schumacher was that driver coming in, who ended up becoming that incoming traffic.
You know, it's like
Anyway.
when you're walking and then in front of you is someone who's really, really slow and you want to overtake, you're like, come on. You're walking. you
Tama,
wanna-
tama. Yeah. I'll agree with you for
Yeah.
now, since I'm sometimes at our age, all of us, we're still the faster ones walking.
Yeah, like,
But we will have our
you want to overtake,
Yeah.
you're like,
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
you know,
Yes.
that Mr. Bean, sorry guys, that Mr. Bean episode where he was stuck in the fire escape. And
So
then
there,
was
exactly.
Yeah. On the stairs, right?
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sainz was frustrated. He was waving his hand, go, 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 let me go.
But they couldn't. He couldn't go.
He couldn't. But
Until
I'm not so sure if I think Ferrari could have handled it better if my interpretation is correct, because they're a bit more strict na rin with pit stops for the rules.
Wow.
Just for safety, because yes, Red Bull did 1.88, but ang daming incidents. There have been a lot of incidents ever since they removed refueling and pit stops or just tires.
Because they're fast na kasi. Diba? They go
Nagmamadali.
fast. Nagmamadali na sila. Ricardo also was a victim of pit stop last one. He had like a really long pit stop that gave him his third place lead, podium finish happen. Remember?
Third, I think that was.
Well,
I think that was a long
Yeah, I
time
think-
ago with Red Bull.
No,
Yes.
this
Anyway,
was,
this recent lang.
Yeah,
I can't remember anymore. Daniel Ricciardo is
of course.
Daniel Ricciardo's being this year. To be honest,
except
That-
for that.
that guy should have been at the expectations. Danny Rick should have at least been par with Lando Norris this year
Yeah.
on a consistent basis. But let's go back to the race, Raymond. Driver of the day, Carlos Sainz won for entertainment value, starting 19th and then finishing 9th. Ata, no?
Yeah.
But another guy, Bottas, candidate for driver of the day, qualified first, worked his way and made his strategy work. Bottas, he made his one-stop strategy
Mhm.
work. Leclerc was going for the no-stop, but Bottas overtook him.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out for Ferrari. So who's your pick, driver of the day? Would you go for the entertainment value of Sainz going 11 places up? or do you go for Bottas performance side? Hey, I went from pole to
Uh,
finish.
well, I would go with Carlos Sainz. Definitely showed his moves yesterday,
Okay.
which was very very fun to watch as a fan.
As a fan, at the end of the day, we want to see overtaking. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It yesterday
So
wasn't
yeah.
the normal race, where it was all about the pit stop strategy. Carlos Sainz made it, tweaked it a little bit with the overtakes, gaining some positions.
Oh yeah, he really pushed.
Yeah,
I think he kind of controlled the pace from the back with the
Who's
way he
this
was
yeah,
science?
driving with
Yeah.
signs. Yeah.
yeah.
Normally you control the race as the leader of by just speeding away, but
Mhm.
when you're at the back pushing everyone, those are
You'll
fun.
push
Those are
more, yeah.
it happens. It
Yeah.
happens
Mhm.
sometimes that you'll start giving everyone in front a difficult time, and they have to
Yeah.
adapt their
They
strategy.
get pressured. Come on.
Yep,
Right?
that's how
Yeah.
pretty much. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think that does it for this
Yeah.
Turkish GP Kwentuhan. We might see you guys after the Americas trip.
Oh gosh. How many
Okay,
races are that?
that's about three, I think. So we will catch you in Qatar. It's the Qatar GP expectedly. Time
Is that a
zones will
good
be a
one?
bit more friendly. Let's just say it's a copy paste of Bahrain, but it's not as overtaking friendly. Bahrain is overtaking friendly, but this Qatar Lusail circuit, it's a copy paste of Bahrain. Did you tweak it a little bit? Like how
Mm.
people say, "Oh,
Mhm.
copy your homework," and they'll just change it a bit there. So they put it in the
Plagiarism.
so, and then they tweaked it a bit, but this one's less overtakings. But I don't mind. It's a new circuit. We're always looking forward to new sights and
Oh yeah.
different corners that will give fantastic racing. So that does it in behalf of Claudio Prime, my co-host, and I, Clara Manzano here with Raymond Cudala, our racing analyst. We will catch you next month in our F1 Kwentuhan, but continue dropping by. Who the heck are we for your weekly dose of sports stories and opinions? So have a good evening, and we will catch you later this week.